Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Salam. We are glad that you're here with us today. Before starting the interview, it would be nice if you give us a short introduction about yourself and tell us why you applied to the position of senior physicist in our university.
Walaikum Salam. Sure. My name is Mohammad Abdus Salam and I'm a theoretical physicist. I was born in district Jhang in 1926 when undivided India was under British rule. I have been scientific advisor to the Ministry of Science and Technology in Pakistan from 1960 to 1974 and also the founding director of Suparco Pakistan. Most importantly, I am a Nobel Prize laureate. My ambition is to work for the rise of Pakistani physics within the global physics community and to advocate for the development of science in third world countries. I have applied for this position because I think that by working in Pakistan, I will be able to follow my ambition of improving Pakistan's science and technology. With the help of this university's platform and reach, I hope to extend my services to all students of science in Pakistan.
Well, Dr. Salam, you, of course, are very much interested in science and technology in the third world, and that implies a strong interest in scientific education in those countries. I thought that it might be helpful to us if you could give us an account of your own education during the British occupation period.
Well, why not? I was educated in Jhang. I was at school there till about the age of 16. Then I moved to Lahore, which is the capital city of Punjab. I used to be the capital city of Punjab in undivided India. So then from Lahore, I was studying mainly for the Indian Civil Service examination. That was the biggest examination which was possible for a young student to take. Fortunately for me, the examination stopped during the war, and so was left to do something different, which led me to become a physicist.
Fascinating. Tell us about your work and what does your research focus on?
I have done a lot of research on my concepts and fields, which include magnetic photon, vector meson, grand unified theory, supersymmetry, and most importantly, electroweak theory, for which I was awarded the Nobel Prize. I also made a contribution in quantum field theory and in the advancement of mathematics at Imperial College London. I, along with my other student Riazuddin, worked on neutrinos, neutron stars, and black hole, as well as the work on modernizing quantum mechanics and quantum field theory.
Amazing. Please explain why your work on electroweak theory is relevant and important. How does it advance our understanding of the world?
The Standard Model is a theory that describes the way that particles interact with one another. It describes the electromagnetic, strong nuclear, and weak nuclear forces as being mediated by certain fundamental particles. Particles interact with one another by exchanging these fundamental particles, and this results in the particle repelling or attracting one another. With the experimental verification of W and Z bosons, these particles provided the necessary evidence to unify the electromagnetic force and weak nuclear force into a single force, which called the electroweak force. According to the electroweak theory, when the universe was very, very hot and the electromagnetic and weak nuclear forces were merged into a single force, or you can say the electroweak force, as the universe cooled, the electroweak force split into the electroweak force carried by photons and weak nuclear force carried by W and Z bosons. When the universe was very hot, the particles that carried the electroweak force were basically identical. So when the universe cooled, how exactly did we obtain W and Z bosons, which have mass and are so different from the photon? This must mean that some type of event must have led to their splitting. and the W and Z bosons gaining that mass. And this score is known as the spontaneous symmetry breaking.
Okay, sir. Let me ask you about this. That what is your opinion about Higgs' work and how it helped you?
Well, Peter Higgs of Edinburgh University discovered in the 1960s a very general principle by which elementary particles could go from being massless to having mass. And it was a nice mathematical idea. Higgs is a very good Scottish physicist who has done this piece of work which we used. So in that sense, electroweak incidentally is a name which I invented. So in that sense, Stephen Berg and I realized that if a Higgs particle of that right kind actually existed, then everything about particles is like electron and quark could be understood with an overarching theory. Then this theory came to be known as the Standard Model of Particle Physics. I'm sure this answers your question.
Oh, yes, it does. Thanks, Dr. Salam, for giving us your precious time. We will think about your application and get back to you soon.
Thank you.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you, Sir Stephen Berg, for coming on a Zoom call. We have some queries regarding your colleague, Dr. Abdus Salam.
My pleasure.
Sir, Dr. Salam has applied for a position in our university. What do you have to say about him?
I knew about Salam well before I ever met him, because as a graduate student, I spent a great deal of time reading his important papers on renormalization theory. One day in 1960, when I was in Berkeley, I was sitting in my tiny office when there was a knock on the door. When I opened it, there was Salam. We talked for a while about renormalization theory and about this and that. I don't recall all of it now, but it was quite a friendly meeting. A year or two later, when my wife and I decided to spend a year abroad, I wrote to Salam and asked for his hospitality at Imperial College, where he was the head of the theoretical physics group. We spent a good year in London, and in particular, I contributed the only paper that I ever read in collaboration with Salam, also with Sheldon Lee Glasser. We seemed to be sharing that there was no hope for a wonderful idea of broken symmetry in particle physics. Fortunately, 2 years later, three different groups said there was an exception to the so-called Higgs mechanism, which was later incorporated by Salam and myself into a unified theory of weak electromagnetic forces. I didn't know it, but at that time Salam was already thinking very seriously about extending science to the developing world and founding an institute for that purpose in Trieste. He founded the International Center for Theoretical Physics in Italy in 1964. Nevertheless, Salam is a great personality and he is a very remarkable person.
Okay, but what do you think about his religion and conspiracy around it?
In science, religion doesn't matter. One must appreciate Salam's work in the field of science and helping us understand the world better. However, whatever Salam believed in will never change the fact that he belonged to Pakistan and worked for its betterment.
Thanks, Sir Stephen, for coming online with us. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Dr. Salam speaking. Hello, sir. University is very much thankful for your time and your consideration. We must say that it would have been an honor to host you in Pakistan. However, after consulting with higher authorities, we will have to reject your application because you don't fit into a work environment and there will be security concerns for both campus and yourself regarding your religious views. Good luck for your future endeavors. Allah Hafiz. Thanks.